Can you build a YouTube home recording studio for under $700? Yes, you can. With this little camera at the heart of a home studio in a bedroom or a small office, this little camera with a few pieces of quality equipment, not cheap rubbish, with quality equipment, will enable you to produce very good video results that you could use for a YouTube channel, for TikTok, for Instagram, anywhere where you're creating videos that need good quality. You'll be able to put videos out and people won't even know you're using a webcam. So let's go and have a look at this setup and see how it works. So let's start with the Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra. This is a webcam, but it looks different, doesn't it? The reason it's different is because it's essentially a micro four thirds lens, a sensor that's just a little bit smaller than a micro four thirds camera. So what you're getting is a webcam with micro four thirds levels of image quality. Now this has a large f1.7 aperture lens, which means it's going to be very good for low light and it's going to give you that bokeh effect. It comes with a built-in shutter. You have full privacy control as a physical device on the camera itself, which I really like. It comes with a 1-inch sensor, and that sensor was originally designed for high-end security cameras. So again, the sensor is designed for low light performance. You're going to see we keep saying low light performance. That's the key here. That's what enables us to get the price of the studio down. It's the low light performance of this webcam. It means we do not have to spend fortunes on lighting. Now it does have autofocus on this webcam, but it focus breathes. So that means it breathes in and out when it's trying to catch focus. Now I personally would just stick it on manual, find my focus point for what I'm filming and leave it at that. This is not an action camera. I wouldn't use this for action shots. If you need something to track and you need high-end focusing systems, you're never going to get that at this price point. We have to remember this is a $300 camera and they've put so much into it already. To try and put a high-end focus system into this camera would just make it too expensive. So you have to live with the focusing. It's not the best, but it's equivalent to a lot of other cameras out there that people are currently using. I've been doing professional videography for over 8 years now, and I can tell you that most of the time I shoot manual anyway. So that means that I set my focus point, I focus on that, and then I leave the camera at that and do my recording. Now the microphone that comes out of this is a reference microphone at best, and that's absolutely fine. I would never use the audio out of a camera directly for a video production anyway, but what this does enable you to do is record the audio separately using a decent microphone and then synchronize it in post. So it's very good that it has what I would call a reference audio in the device itself. It also outputs 4K at 30 FPS. What that means is if you're doing a production at 1080p, you can take the 4K footage out of this and you can create fake zoom shots, you can create fake slider shots. You could also use it to create zoom cuts, which is where you zoom in and there's a hard cut and it looks like it's just zoomed in, but actually you just cut out a load of stuff. Now the cable, let's talk about the cable. You get a 1 meter cable with this, which is nowhere near long enough. My setup, I need a 3 meter cable. The first cable I bought, I thought it was a high bandwidth cable, and that's what I bought it as, but I've had to now buy a 20 megabits per second cable. I'm going to try that, see if that works. But what happens is, this camera, because it's 4K, it has a high bandwidth, so it's a lot of information going through that cable. The Razer provided theirs, but it's about 1 meter long, and that means it just doesn't reach if you don't want this sitting on top of your computer or connected to a laptop. Of course it works then, but if you've got a computer that's away from the mic, which it's going to be because you're going to be recording audio and you don't want your fans right next to the mic, you're going to need to get a different cable. Now I've heard that Razer are going to be sending out some cables to people that first bought them. I'm not sure what's going on there, but be prepared to buy a longer cable if you need to. Obviously everything here, there'll be affiliate links in the description, so go and check that out. So really, when you look at it, the only two weaknesses that this camera has is the cable, and the auto-focusing isn't something you're going to use for live action shots. But its low light capability and its depth of field, the bokeh it gives, the quality is better than any webcam I have seen currently out there, and it is so close to micro four thirds. If you didn't tell anybody, they would think you were using a micro four thirds camera in your recording or streaming setup. So with this setup, I've gone with an Elgato Wave boom arm. The reason I've done that is because it's sturdy and it can take weight. It's robust. You're not going to have any problems with it. I've got quite a few of these in my office and My wife's got one in her office, and this is the one we buy. Now, the reason it's so good is because it reaches over most monitor setups. That means it will come up over the top and it will come down, and you'll be able to adjust it and set the angle to where you want to film. I've also added an additional extender, which is a series of adapter nuts for cameras, which I've just bolted together because they're black and they were cheap, and I've put that on there, but they're nice and strong. I've also added a generic Ballhead, and this allows me to quickly adjust the camera and go from talking heads to product shots. Now, in terms of microphone choices, I haven't picked out a specific microphone because it's so dependent on different situations. You could go lavalier, you could go any type of mic. Different brands have different functions, so it's difficult to specify a mic for an individual. But I would set your budget about $100. Look for a portable USB mic so you can go straight into your computer and you don't have to buy additional equipment. And the other thing to note is dynamic mics work best if you've got untreated areas where you're recording your audio. Dynamic mics tend to record what's in front of them, so you can put them quite close to yourself and you're not going to pick up all the background noise. Now, the microphone in my setup I'm showing here is a Sennheiser Mark 8. That's a high-end studio microphone. You don't need anything like that for this type of setup. The reason I've got that in my office is because over the years I've bought lots of different equipment, and I've got a high-end mic I can use in there that I'm not currently using in my studio because I'm using some other microphones, and that's why that's there. But you can see how I've used another one of these Elgato arms to come over the top. Now, I haven't costed that in because I would see that as an additional expense you don't need at the moment. You could literally put a microphone on your desk. You can get a lavalier mic and clip it to yourself. And there are many different options that are very low cost for mounting microphones. Now, I'm going to recommend the Neewer LED light. And the reason I'm recommending this light is because it gives a good output and it's got good color temperature control. Now, what's interesting about this lens, because it's designed for low light situations, you don't need huge amounts of light for it to give you a good quality image. And that's how we're saving money. The more light you add, the better that camera will perform. But this is a little low light monster. It will deal with low light situations. So one of these lights is enough. You can adjust the amount of output you want, and you can also adjust the color temperature. Now, what I would recommend is you bounce this off a wall, a white wall. And if you don't have a white wall, think about how you might create a white area, maybe a panel or a sheet, something you can bounce the white light off, and that's going to take the smaller light source and turn it into a larger light source, and that's going to give you a softer light. If you shine it directly on yourself, it's going to be quite harsh and hard. Now, I would recommend the Neewer Extendable camera desk mount. If you want something to mount the light on, that can clamp onto your desk. You can shine it at the wall, and it's something you can pack away, and it's not going to take up a lot of space like a normal light stand. Now, we can use this setup in a number of different ways. We can use the boom arm to take the camera up higher if we want to do an upper body shot. I've even seen a full body shot on the Razer website where they've got a full body shot and someone standing there. You notice they're not moving backwards and forwards very much. That's because they don't want to trick that autofocus into zooming in and out, so you have to be very stationary, but it can be done. For talking heads itself, again, you could shoot yourself standing up and talking, or you can sit down at the desk, sit a bit further back with a wide lens like this would be my recommendation, because it's going to distort your face a little bit, but if you come out of it, because it's 4K, distortion shouldn't be so bad in the middle, and then later on, if you record in 4K, you can crop it in post, and you won't get so much distortion. Now, it does have anti-distortion features in the software, which you can use, and that does actually work to straighten out lines and curves in the back of your image. So check that out if you need that. Now, the other thing we can do is we've got a simple ball head. We can just turn it, we can shoot down into a product now, and now we've got a product shot. I would recommend shooting at a high frames per second if you're doing this type of shot, because those hand movements are going to blur. So go up to 100 or 120 FPS, which can be adjusted in the software, and film it that way. You can get very good overhead product shots. And because we can adjust it on the ball head very quickly, we can do the face and we can do the product. We can essentially create all the shots we need for a video production for something like YouTube, maybe a review channel. You could get a couple of these, have one on your face and then one at a different angle in the studio. At these prices, they're remarkable value. Now, I've seen a lot of people say these are expensive for a webcam. That's true if you see them as a webcam. I don't see them as a webcam. I see them as a hybrid Micro Four Thirds camera or webcam setup where I don't have to have the Micro Four Thirds camera. I don't have to worry about all the technical stuff and all the additional equipment I need. I can plug this in and go. Now, another thing you could do with this is just add a laptop, and now you've got a fully mobile studio. It comes with this handy little cover so you can put it away. That's going to keep the lens nice and safe, which is a nice little feature. I do like that. It also comes with this bracket which you can clip onto laptops, and it has mounting brackets, and that actually has its own mounting bracket on as well, so you could actually just try mounting that straight to something like a tripod. But with a ball head, you're going to get a lot more functionality in terms of quickly changing position. And you can see what I've done as I've just put a quick release mount from my ball head on here. It's got the thread for it, so you just screw that in, and I can just chuck that in my bag, take it with me, attach that to a tripod with the same fitting, and I'm good to go. But this is such a good little camera. I'd love to see this in a HDMI format that I could plug it into my studio, into my A10 Mini Extreme ISO, which is an 8 input switcher, and I could have a few of these around the studio. They're so small, so compact, so easy to mount. I really want these in HDMI. So do I give this my recommendation? Absolutely. I've been an online entrepreneur for 20 years. Video production, photography, I've seen it all come and go. This is game changing. If you want to start your own business online, with YouTube content, training courses, anything like that, this little camera enables you to get in to that business model at a price point that's never been possible before. And remember, what we built this out with wasn't cheap, low-end stuff. It was all good consumer, high-end consumer products. So do I recommend it? Absolutely. So we have lots more YouTube content coming your way on entrepreneurship, business building, marketing, sales, video production. So if any of that interests you, please like and subscribe on the video. We also have our online marketing training course. This is a free commercial quality training course, which comes with an exam and certification. So if you're just starting out in business and you don't know anything about marketing, this is going to teach you the basics. This is going to take you through those first steps you need to do to be successful at marketing your business. And I'll pop a link to our website in the description below. And then we also have the Business Buddies private community. That's got over 58 hours of advanced condensed premium training. And for a very small one-off payment, you can access 58 hours of training. And you can also join my private community, come and have a chat with me, ask questions, and get advice on starting your own online business.